Hey everybody, and welcome back to SV Blown Away.
Oh yeah.
Hi, my name's Ian and I own a old steel ketch from the 1970s called Blown Away. And Blown Away has been my home for the last 20 years. Welcome on board. And you join us in the Ionian Islands of Greece, where we are currently living in a van whilst replacing the floor on board Blown Away.
Good morning. Today is Monday. I don't know a date, I never do. We're getting back onto our floor panels, and we're currently working on floor panel number 2, which is this one. So I glued this frame up yesterday. You can see it's still in rough cut. It's still got the woodyard's markings on it. So I've glued all this up. I need to clean it up now, get rid of all the glue and take it back to a nice woody finish. So that's my next job.
And with the frame and the backing board all bonded together, it's time to give it a big clean up.
A lot of different angles. I'm not particularly good with working out the angles and stuff. I've got one joint that's a little bit nasty, but
please remember these joints are made balancing on a basket on the side of a dock.
That one's pretty good. And that one's pretty good. That's not ideal, but it's fine. That one's good. And that one's good. The only thing I don't like about these boards is the fact it's a soft back, but it's the only thing I can get. What's the only thing I can get that I can afford, let's put it that way.
Now these wooden inserts are made from Iroko, but they do have a soft pine backing board on them. Now I was told that these were kitchen and bathroom quality, so they should be water resistant, but when these are bonded into these panels I'm using resin which should pretty much waterproof them.
And that's how I've been doing this. That'll get sunk into resin so that it's completely watertight, and Sikaflex around the edges to give it a slightly more boaty look. But yeah, so far so good. Go panel number 2. So my next job now, sink this into resin. So we'll be mixing up some epoxy and flooding this into into the wood. But I think it's gonna be okay. So we've mixed up our resin, and I am about to add this to this board to bond down the Iroko strips.
Now I could have used wood glue for this purpose, I'm sure it would have been sufficient, but I didn't want any voids between the Iroko strips and the floor panel. And I certainly didn't want any way for moisture to come in from the engine room.
See them float, and then I know they're properly encapsulated in the epoxy. Pretty much what you'd expect. Let's put the tricky bit in first. I absolutely have to make sure that this is properly interlocked. It's not going to come apart. It seems to be kind of naturally curving a little bit where it interlocks together. So I think I'm going to put some G-clamps on this.
So with the help of the heater and the dehumidifier, we can leave this overnight for the resin to set hard.
That's properly oozing out the sides now. That's what we needed to see. We're Sikaflexing this next one now. So this is number 2, and we are about to put caulking into the gaps. So
Now you'll notice that I am pulling this tape off pretty soon after I've finished doing the caulking. The reason for that is the tape comes off considerably easier while the caulking is still wet.
Unfortunately, working solo means that I don't get my finger into this quite quick enough. It's been hammering down with rain, which has really slowed progress. I've got the canopy up, not for the sunshine, but to keep the rain off. Board number 4. Haven't filmed a lot of this because it's getting a bit repetitive, but yeah, just kind of lining it all up. This is the cutout for the little pole dancing pole in the galley. Not that anyone's ever danced around it, but hey, live and hope.
And once I'm fairly happy that all of those joints are going to match up, we can glue the backing board to the frame.
Here we go, panel number 4. This is the back of the panel. So this is the backing board that we're using. Some marine grade ply. Use a plastic sheet to prevent this, but this island does not need more plastic. What it looks like in its raw form. This is my state-of-art factory. This is where all this is built, in the boatyard, balancing on a bar stool. Not too bad. It's okay. It's not perfect, but I'm not a joiner. This isn't tally-ho or magic carpet. This is blown away, and we're using bar stools for benches. So I'm not expecting the two pieces to slot together straight away. I'm expecting there to be some problems and me having to shave bits off, and you know, but I can't add pieces to it, not easily. So I've made them bigger deliberately so that I can take pieces off here and there wherever I needed, to get the shapes right. let's go see. Let's go see how this one turned out. It's all gone hard. Perfect. So now I'll sand this level. So this and this is slightly different heights by about 4 mil in places, maybe a bit more in others. So we'll match it so it's the same thickness all the way around by using the belt sander. And so yes. Bit of a disaster. The belt's shredded and scratched all the pre-varnished Iroko. Nice. But yeah. And the only belts I've got left are fine belts, so 120s. Because that's the second belt to shred. I have 2 belts left. No, I have 1 belt left. The other one's a wrapper. Uh-oh. €8.50 each. I don't think I can get them on the island. I have 1 belt left, I can't get any more. And tomorrow's Sunday. Could be an editing day tomorrow. But yeah, I won't film any more sanding, I promise. So even though the sun is out, it's raining. And it's not a small amount of rain. Fortunately, the awning on the van is pretty good, but my work's getting wet again.
And the process of masking these panels off is pretty laborious and boring. Almost as boring as watching sanding. And I suspect by now you know what is coming next. More Sikaflex.
Paint thinners at the ready. Paper towel. Sikaflex, no gloves. Could possibly go wrong. There you go. Panel number 4 is now into Sikaflex.
And with the 4th panel finished, it's time to tailor these to fit the boat.
The trick is not to fall down the hole.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow. And the old ways get washed out by the rain. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this. If you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit. There's a new day to leave behind your
morning's challenge is making all of these pieces fit the boat.
So this one's tailored to fit, and the idea is that I take off wood from this panel here, but not from the centre section. And if I do the same both sides, I keep this piece straight and the same thickness. Okay. So far so good. In this panel here, because this was cut straight and this is knocking there. So it's pretty solid. So I'm going to take a piece out of the floor and I'll probably just use a belt sander. I'm going to use something circular and hollow, a washer, or in this case a reel of tape, and I'm going to create the curve so that I know how much I need to remove. I took more off of this than I intended, so I'm a little bit worried I've cut too far. Of course, to limit the amount of dust that's created inside of the boat, every time I need to do something like this, I'm taking the piece outside off the boat onto the dock, sanding it, cutting it, whatever, and then bringing it back to see if it fits. It's a laborious process and it's time consuming.
For the bigger sections that need to be removed, I'm taking off with a circular saw and then following along behind with the belt sander. But I promised I wouldn't film any more sanding.
Well, I have to say, I am pretty happy with that. So that's the first two in. Ooh, that's snug. That is very snug. Okay. I just need to take a little bit off of the inside of that cutout. So what I'm working on now is closing these gaps, and I can do that by twisting this panel a little bit, because if you look up here, it's not square to the frame. I can close this gap by taking a small piece off of this corner here on that edge, and then the whole panel will twist a little bit anti-clockwise, and then I take the edge off of this one so that it just slots in, and yeah, kind of hoping that's good, but I don't want gaps. I don't want gaps. Please don't give me gaps. I want rid of the gaps. Don't want them. It's kind of where I'm working.
And we are on to the fifth and final panel. So join us again next week when we continue making the floor for this old sailing boat.
That one is the blue.
And a huge shout out to our Ko-fi monthly supporters, the McKenna family, David Luchford, Captain Svetlana, Eric and Trev. Thank you for your support.
Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride.
And a huge shout out to the people you see on your screens now for sending me a copy. You are all very attractive people. And these videos would not be made possible without the support of our Patreon team: Matt, Michael, Ian, Miles, Tim Yoffey, JG and Graham Elvey, not forgetting Jim Bracken. Thank you so much for your support, it is really appreciated. And a huge shout out to these guys, Jeff and Parr, thank you for your past support, it was much appreciated. We are sad to see you leave.
And as always, if you haven't subscribed, hit the button on the right. If you'd like to see more of these videos, the button on the left. Thank you very much for watching thus far, and we hope to see you again next week.
I know I'll be okay, 'cause I found my way.